So Gary, it's an honour to have you back chairing International Armoured Vehicles and for another year. Could you tell us really what trends have you seen this year? What surprised you from the discussions?
The surprises generally come from the sort of novel nations, ones that I've not come across before, because in reality the themes of a conference like this tend to be enduring, and it's about balance of investment, balance of capability, but with a wrapper. The wrapper that's come even from America, where, by our comparison, they have lots of money, but actually it's all about affordability. And you, like a Labour or Conservative government, education, education, education. Here, it's affordability, affordability, affordability.
And that's a situation that is likely not to change within the next few years. Are there any situations in this domain that we could perhaps predict change in a rapid context?
It's where there are threats. Peoples around the world, whatever nation, they'll spend more money when they feel threatened, either internal threats or external threats. So, for example, if you were any one of those nations feeling currently threatened by, for example, ISIL in the Middle East, or perhaps by Russia and Putin's proxies in the eastern part of Europe, then you might be inclined to spend a little bit more on defence. And we've heard that quite a lot through the conference over the last 3 days.
Those are, of course, the big issues in the room, but what have been perhaps the more novel discussions or areas of the world that we've heard from over the past week?
Okay, novel, particularly South America. Just this afternoon we've had two presentations, one from Peru, who are looking to replace their main battle tank, a T-55. And unlike most nations who would either have to go west or east for their products, Peru sits somewhere on the cusp, and so is therefore looking not only at a Western product in the Leopard, also looking at T-90 from Russia, but equally they're managing to look at Merkava from Israel. So they're free to do what they like. And that's an unusual position to be in for almost anyone else who would be forced down their natural allegiance. And then we've just heard from Chile, so many thousands of miles away, and they've explained their threat, their style of training, and I think their quite pragmatic approach to the fact that their biggest threat is not necessarily external aggression or internal strife, it's humanitarian disasters, earthquakes, avalanches, where they're constantly available to support their nation. I think that's a healthy position to be in, where at least your people, your nation, feels that the army's there as part of the national infrastructure.
And what is it that you feel is about this forum that makes it a must-attend event in the calendar year?
It's all about the network. All about the network, stupid. It took me a long while to realise that, but that's the reality. And I would say almost everybody I've spoken to who say they find value in coming to this event, it is about maintaining or expanding, improving, nurturing that network, because in the reality of this world, your problems are not unique. If somebody else has had that problem, they found a solution, they know how to deal with it, or they have a solution that they can offer, they can share. So I think the network is the key thing about this conference. And because it's so eclectic, the mix of people from 6 of 7 continents of the world, we've had presentations from over 30 nations, and there are still more nations in the room who are not presenting, who are listening, who are offering, who are adding to the conversation in the background, in the networking that occurs right from the get-go, but it's through breakfast, lunch, dinner, coffee, tea. It's knowing the right person to speak to, having someone else to bounce an idea off, learning from their mistakes almost. One of the speakers on day one, Ted Makiuba from the United States, a real expert in this field, he was extolling the virtues of failure and being quite open and honest, candid about the cock-ups, the cancelled programs, the failures, and how the United States, Uncle Sam, the biggest superpower in the world, who spends more on tanks than most nations spend on their whole defence, they learn from their failures, and that's a message that the rest of us can learn from.
Well, this event this year has certainly not been a failure, but we rely on a good chair, so thank you very much indeed for being a part of it.
It's kind, Richard, thanks.
Thank you.